Everyone agreed later that the explosion should have killed him. The blast tore through the battlefield like a screaming sun, throwing metal, fire, and bodies into the air. Human comms went silent in the same second. Drones stopped moving. Even the alien artillery paused, as if the universe itself needed a moment to breathe. Lieutenant Aaron Cade did not breathe at all. He lay buried beneath shattered alloy and smoking earth, his armor cracked, his helmet gone, his pulse fading so fast it barely existed. To anyone watching, he was already a memory. And then, warmth. Not fire. Not pain. Warmth, gentle and careful, pressing against his chest like hands that refused to let go. Darkness peeled back slowly, like a curtain lifted by someone afraid of what they might see behind it. Aaron's thoughts drifted without shape. He wondered if this was death. If this was what came after fighting for too long, surviving for too long, watching too many friends fall. When light finally reached his eyes, it was not heaven. It was a face. Not human. Her skin shimmered faintly, catching the light in soft waves of blue and silver. Long, elegant ears trembled at the sides of her head, twitching with emotion she could not hide. Her eyes were large, luminous, and overflowing with tears that fell freely down her cheeks. She was crying. Crying over him. Aaron tried to speak, but his throat burned and nothing came out except a broken breath. The alien woman noticed instantly. Her eyes widened, and she leaned closer, hands glowing faintly as they hovered over his chest. "No," she whispered, her voice shaking. "Stay with me. Please stay." Her hands pressed down, and warmth surged through him again, stronger this time, deliberate, controlled. Pain flared, then dulled, then slowly retreated, like waves pulling back from shore. Aaron gasped. Air rushed into his lungs in a violent, desperate pull. His body jerked as if shocked back into existence. The alien woman froze, then let out a sound halfway between a sob and a laugh. "You're alive," she said, almost afraid to believe it. Aaron blinked, vision blurring. "That depends," he rasped weakly. "Are angels supposed to have ears like that?" She stared at him. Then she laughed, short, broken, emotional, and wiped her tears quickly as if embarrassed by them. "Humans," she said. "Even when dying, you mock reality." "Good," Aaron muttered. "That means I didn't die." She swallowed hard, her ears lowering slightly. "You almost did." The battlefield around them was quiet now, but not peaceful. Smoke curled through the air. Distant thunder rolled where ships still fought in the sky. The war between humans and the Valari Dominion had been burning for months, and this world was just another name added to the list of contested graves. Aaron tried to move and immediately regretted it. Pain screamed through his ribs and spine. "Don't," she said firmly, pressing him back down. "Your body is damaged. Human biology is stubborn, but fragile." "Hey," he said through clenched teeth. "I resemble that." Despite herself, the corners of her mouth lifted. "I am Dr. Salith of the Valari Healing Conclave," she said. "And you are very difficult to keep alive." "That's what my commanders say." She activated a small floating device that hovered over his torso, scanning him with soft light. Her expression tightened with focus, but her hands trembled slightly. She noticed and forced them still. "You were buried under the blast," she said. "Your heart stopped. Twice." Aaron stared at her. "You restarted it?" "Yes." Her voice lowered. "Both times." Something shifted between them in that silence. The truth settled heavy and real. An alien medic, one of the enemy, had refused to let him die. "Why?" he asked quietly. Salith looked away. For a moment, she seemed like someone very far from a battlefield. Just a woman sitting beside a dying stranger, trying to understand herself. "Because," she said slowly, "you shielded civilians during the retreat. Valari civilians. You did not know who they were. You stayed anyway." Aaron shrugged slightly, which hurt. Someone had to. Her ears trembled again. Most would not. A distant explosion shook the ground. Salith reacted instantly, tapping a device at her wrist. A shimmering field snapped into place around them, bending light until they vanished from sight. A cloaking veil, she said. Temporary. Figures, Aaron murmured. I finally get saved, and it's on a timer. She exhaled softly, something between a laugh and a sigh. You should rest. If you lose consciousness again, I may not be able to bring you back. He looked at her, really looked at her this time. The tears had stopped, but the traces remained. Fear, relief, determination, all written plainly across a face that was supposed to belong to an enemy. Well, he said quietly, guess I should cooperate then. Yes, she replied, meeting his eyes. You should. As darkness crept back in, not the cold kind, but the heavy pull of exhaustion, Aaron felt something new settle into his chest. Not fear. Not pain. Hope. Because if an alien medic could cry over a human soldier on a battlefield meant to erase them both, then maybe this war was not as simple as everyone believed. And maybe humanity still had surprises left that the galaxy was not ready for. Aaron woke to the sound of soft humming. Not engines. Not alarms. This was a living kind of hum, like something breathing through metal. He opened his eyes and saw a ceiling that looked like woven glass. Light ran through it in slow streams, shifting colors as if the room had moods. The air smelled clean, sharp, and strange, like rain mixed with warm stone. He tried to sit up and failed. His ribs felt like they were stitched together with lightning. A shadow moved near his bedside. Aaron tensed, reaching for a weapon that wasn't there. A familiar voice spoke calmly. If you try to move again, you will undo hours of work. Human bones are stubborn, but they are not immortal. He turned his head. Dr. Salith stood beside him, arms folded, ears twitching in that honest way her species couldn't control. She looked tired. Her eyes had dark shadows beneath them. She had been awake too long. Aaron tried to smile. It came out as a wince. You should put that on a poster. Bones are not immortal. You are recovering, she replied. That is good. Your humor returning is less good. He swallowed, dry throat scratching. Where am I? My field outpost, she said. Hidden beneath the basalt ridge. A place built for medical work, not war. Aaron's eyes followed the walls again. The room was shaped like a dome, smooth, seamless. No visible doors. No corners. Just curves and glowing veins of light running through the structure like a calm heartbeat. So, he said slowly, I'm in an alien bunker. With an alien doctor. And I'm not tied down. Salith glanced at him as if he had asked why the sky was blue. You are injured, not dangerous. Aaron lifted one brow. You saved me. Twice. That seems like an unusual opinion for someone whose people have been trying to erase my species. Her ears dipped. Not guilt exactly, but something close. The Dominion, she corrected quietly. The Valari Dominion wants victory. They command fleets, soldiers, propaganda. I am not the Dominion. Aaron stared at her. So you're, what? A rebel. Salith didn't answer immediately. She moved to a small panel that rose from the wall like a flower opening. She pressed her palm against it. A drink formed from a nozzle, clear, steaming slightly. She brought it to his lips. Careful, she said. Sip. Your throat is damaged. Aaron hesitated. What is it? Water with minerals, she replied. And a stabilizer compound. If you reject it, you will vomit. If you accept it, you will feel less like death. Well, Aaron murmured, I've had worse coffee. He sipped. It was warm. Not sweet. Not bitter. Just clean. It slid down his throat and eased the rawness almost immediately. His body didn't relax, but his panic softened a fraction. Salith watched him closely as if she expected him to collapse again. Aaron swallowed and said, You keep looking like you're waiting for me to disappear. Her eyes flickered. Her ears twitched sharply. I watched you die, she said simply. And then I refused to accept it. That hit harder than the explosion. Aaron didn't know what to say to that. So he joked, because joking was safer than feeling. I'm sorry. I'll try to die more politely next time. Seilitha's mouth tightened. There will not be a next time. The hum in the room deepened. Something changed in the air, like pressure shifting. Seilith turned her head toward the wall, eyes narrowing. She lifted her wrist device, listening. Aaron watched her expression shift from calm to alarm. What? He asked. Your people, she whispered. They are searching. Aaron's stomach tightened. For survivors. For targets, she said. And your Dominion patrols are also closing in. Both sides. This area is becoming loud. Aaron forced himself to breathe slowly, ignoring the pain. Then let me go. Before both armies decide to bomb your cave just to make sure nothing is left inside. Seilith looked at him with a sharp, almost offended stare. You cannot walk. Then carry me, he said. Her ears rose in disbelief. You are heavy. I've been told, he muttered. Seilith paced a step, then stopped. She looked like someone doing math inside her head while the world burned outside. You do not understand, she said. If the Dominion discovers I am sheltering you, they will execute me. Aaron held her gaze. If humans discover you saved me, they'll do the same. Seilitha's breathing tightened. She nodded once, like accepting a truth she hated. We are both trapped, she said. Aaron stared at the glowing walls, then back at her. Okay. Then we get UN trapped. Seilith blinked. That is not a real plan. It is, Aaron said. It's the only kind humans are good at. Seilith looked skeptical. Aaron continued, voice calmer now. You said I shielded civilians. That means you've been watching us. Studying us. Seilith didn't deny it. So you know how humans survive hopeless situations, he said. We do something stupid, but smart. We don't wait for permission. We don't wait for a perfect plan. We make an ugly plan and run it until reality gives up. Seilitha's eyes narrowed. That sounds like madness. Aaron smiled faintly. That's our brand. The ground trembled again, closer this time. Dust flickered down from the ceiling like glitter. Seilith moved fast. She tapped the wall. A section opened, revealing a narrow tunnel lined with dim light. The air from it was colder. This is an escape route, she said. But it leads through the ridge. There are sensors. Dominion sensors. Aaron forced himself onto one elbow. Pain flooded him. He gritted his teeth. Seilith steadied him instantly, her hands glowing. The warmth pushed back the pain just enough for him to stay conscious. Why do you keep doing that? Aaron asked through clenched teeth. Her voice softened. Because if you collapse, you die. And if you keep saving me, he said, you die. Seilith looked away again. That same conflict returned. Then she whispered, almost like she couldn't stop herself. I do not want either of us to die. Aaron's chest tightened. For the first time since waking up, he felt the war fade from his mind. Just two enemies in a quiet room, trying not to drown. He swallowed. Then we need something neither side expects. Seilith stared at him. Such as? Aaron's eyes drifted toward the small floating med drone hovering nearby. It was smooth, delicate, and expensive looking. It pulsed with light as it monitored his vitals. Aaron pointed weakly. That thing. Is it connected to Dominion networks? Seilith frowned. It can transmit medical reports. Why? Aaron's smile turned sharp. Because humans are amazing at breaking things, he said. And even better at making broken things useful. Seilitha's ears lifted in alarm. You want to sabotage my drone. I want to make your drone lie, Aaron corrected. To everyone. Seilith stared. That is, illegal. Aaron chuckled painfully. Welcome to humanity. The tunnel trembled with distant impacts. Outside, war was moving closer. Seilith looked at the drone, then at him. Her eyes narrowed, calculating again. "What do you need?" she asked. Aaron's grin widened. "Access." Salith hesitated. Then she stepped to the drone and touched it gently. Light flashed. Symbols shifted across its surface. "I can unlock its settings," she said. "But you are a soldier, not an engineer." Aaron's eyes gleamed. "That's the funny part." He coughed, then said, "My father fixed farm machines with wire and anger. I learned early that systems don't care what you are. They care if you understand what makes them panic." Salith watched him like she was beginning to realize something dangerous. Humans didn't need elegant tools. They needed one weak point. Aaron reached out slowly, fingers trembling, and touched the drone. The drone's light turned amber. It beeped once, almost offended. Salith whispered, "If you break it." Aaron murmured, "Then we break the war." He closed his eyes and focused, breathing through pain. His mind went back to human tech training, not the official manuals, but the real lessons soldiers traded in whispers. How to confuse sensors. How to reroute power. How to make enemy machines see ghosts. How to turn a perfect system into a blind one. The drone's lights flickered. Salith leaned closer, watching, heart pounding so hard her ears trembled. Outside, the world moved toward them like a closing fist. Inside, Aaron Cade smiled through the pain as he began rewriting the rules. And for the first time, Salith understood why the galaxy feared humans. Not because they were strong. Because when everything was lost, they still tried something impossible. The med drone shuddered. Not violently. Not enough to trigger alarms. Just enough to feel uncertain. Salith noticed it immediately. Her breath caught, and her fingers hovered near the shutdown command. "It is resisting," she whispered. "Its core logic is rejecting your interference." Aaron's jaw tightened as sweat beaded across his forehead. Pain pulsed through him with every heartbeat, but he kept his hand steady against the drone's surface. "That's normal," he said quietly. "It thinks it knows what it's supposed to be." The drone emitted a low chime. Its light shifted from amber to pale blue, then flickered. Salith stared. "You are confusing it." "Good," Aaron muttered. "Confused machines make mistakes." Outside the outpost, the distant thunder grew louder. Not storms this time. Engines. Heavy ones. Salith's wrist device pulsed red. She glanced at it and felt her stomach drop. Dominion scouts are deploying ground sensors. They will triangulate this location within minutes. Aaron closed his eyes briefly, forcing his breathing to slow. "Then we don't hide," he said. "We vanish." "That is not how reality works," Salith replied. "It is when humans show up," he said. He shifted his hand, pressing 2 fingers against a seam in the drone's casing. The drone reacted with a sharp tone, like a warning. Salith flinched. "That is its memory lattice. If you damage it." "I won't," Aaron said. "I'm not breaking it. I'm lying to it." The drone's surface rippled, responding to his touch. Symbols began scrolling faster, overlapping in patterns Salith had never seen before. "What are you doing?" she asked. "Teaching it a story," Aaron replied. She blinked. "A story." "Machines believe data," he said. "But data always tells a story. Right now, its story says, 1 injured human. 1 Valari medic. High-value target." He coughed, grimacing, then continued. "I'm changing the story." The drone chimed again. This time, the sound was softer. Curious. Salith watched in disbelief as its internal light shifted to green. "What story are you giving it?" she asked. Aaron smiled faintly. "That I died." The room seemed to hold its breath. The drone hovered higher, projecting a faint image, Aaron's vitals, flatlined. Body temperature dropping. Life signs, 0. Salith's ears shot upward. "It is reporting you as deceased." "Good," Aaron said. "Now we make sure everyone believes it." Salith stared at the projection, her pulse racing. This data will transmit to Dominion networks. And human networks. Both. Exactly, Aaron said. Both sides stop looking for corpses eventually. The ground shook again, closer now. Dust drifted down like falling stars. Salith grabbed a pack from the wall and moved fast, efficient despite the storm inside her thoughts. If this works, she said, we still must escape the ridge. Sensors will detect movement. Aaron nodded slowly. That's where you come in. She paused. Me? You know your people's systems, he said. I know how humans confuse systems. Together, we make ghosts. Salith hesitated. No one had ever asked her to work with an enemy like this. Not as a prisoner. Not as a subject. As a partner. She looked at Aaron, bleeding, broken, barely alive, and still planning like the war had already lost. All right, she said softly. Tell me what you need. Aaron's eyes met hers, sharp despite the pain. Access to the ridge sensors. Temporary blind spots. Not shutdowns. Shutdowns make commanders suspicious. Salith nodded, already moving. I can stagger their pulses. Make them think the interference is atmospheric. Aaron exhaled slowly. Perfect. She activated a console embedded in the wall. Streams of alien code flowed like water. Her fingers moved quickly, ears twitching in focus. Outside, boots struck stone. Voices echoed faintly, Dominion troopers, close now. Salith swallowed. They are here. Aaron forced himself upright, leaning heavily against the bed. Salith rushed to support him, slipping his arm over her shoulder. He was heavier than she expected, but she didn't let go. Hey, he murmured. You're doing great. This is not encouragement time, she snapped, then softened. But, thank you. She triggered the final command. The room dimmed. The cloaking veil shimmered, then expanded, bending light around them like water around a stone. Outside the outpost, Dominion troopers swept past the entrance, scanners humming. Their displays showed nothing but cooling rubble and empty readings. One trooper paused. Medical signature spike detected earlier. Another checked his device. Signal resolved. False positive. Probably debris. They moved on. Inside the ridge, Salith exhaled shakily. They believed it. Aaron let out a breath that felt like it had been trapped in his chest for days. Machines always do. People, less so. They moved slowly through the tunnel, step by painful step. The passage narrowed, opening onto a hidden ledge overlooking the battlefield. The sky burned with fire and falling ships. Human fighters clashed with Dominion craft, streaks of light carving chaos through the clouds. Salith stared. This war will not end today. No, Aaron agreed. But something changed. She looked at him. What? Aaron gestured weakly at the chaos. They think I'm dead. Both sides. Salith frowned. That makes you irrelevant. He smiled. It makes me invisible. Her eyes widened as understanding dawned. You intend to act without orders, she said. That's when humans are most dangerous, he replied. A sudden explosion lit the sky. A human transport spiraled, hit hard. Salith flinched. They will die. Aaron's gaze hardened. Not if we interfere. She looked at him, truly looked at him now. Not just as a patient. Not just as an enemy. As a problem. As a force. What are you proposing? She asked quietly. Aaron's voice was steady. You're a healer. You see systems, bodies, networks. You know where they fail. Yes, she said cautiously. I'm a soldier trained to exploit those failures, he said. Together, we don't win battles. He met her eyes. We change outcomes. The wind howled across the ridge. Below them, the war raged on, blind to the two figures standing between sides. Salith felt something unfamiliar take root in her chest. Not fear. Possibility. If we do this, she said slowly, There is no returning to what we were. Aaron nodded. Humans crossed that line a long time ago. She took a breath, then nodded once. Then we begin, she said. In the sky above, sensors flickered. Signals misaligned. And somewhere in the vast machines of war, the first cracks began to spread. They moved at night. Not because darkness hid them, machines did not care about darkness, but because night made people careless. Soldiers trusted their instruments more when their eyes were useless. Commanders relied on data instead of instinct. That was the weakness Aaron wanted. Salith guided him through narrow paths along the ridge, routes never meant for walking bodies. They were maintenance veins for the outpost, grown rather than built, and they curved in ways that confused direction and distance. Aaron leaned on her shoulder more than he liked. Every step sent pain through his chest, but he kept moving. Pain meant he was alive. Alive meant useful. Below them, the battlefield stretched wide and broken. Fires burned in scattered lines. Wreckage glittered faintly like fallen stars. Human and Dominion forces were still locked together, both convinced the other side was about to collapse. Neither was right. Salith stopped at a ledge overlooking a cluster of Dominion sensor towers. Tall, elegant spires grown from black stone, humming softly as they scanned the sky and ground. These towers coordinate targeting data, she said quietly. If they fail, Dominion artillery loses precision. Aaron nodded. And if they fail in a way that looks like interference? They will blame the planet, she said slowly. Exactly, Aaron replied. She crouched beside a hidden console embedded in the rock. Her fingers hovered, hesitating. If we do this, she said, Dominion ships may fire blindly. Aaron's voice was calm. Blind fire is less deadly than perfect fire. Salith closed her eyes for a brief moment, then began. Streams of light flowed across the console. The tower's hum shifted pitch, almost like a creature sighing in confusion. Aaron watched the patterns, his mind racing. There, he said softly. That delay, can you stretch it? Salith adjusted the signal. Yes. But only briefly. Brief is enough, Aaron said. Now let's make them see what they expect. He pulled a small human device from his armor, cracked, scorched, but still alive. A battlefield signal scrambler, meant to confuse enemy drones during retreats. Salith frowned. That technology is primitive. Aaron smiled. Primitive tools break sophisticated systems. He activated it. The air around the towers shimmered. False signals bloomed like ghosts, phantom troop movements, non-existent ships, fake energy spikes. Dominion targeting systems lit up in response. On a distant ridge, Dominion artillery shifted. Salith's breath caught. They are preparing to fire. Not at us, Aaron said. At shadows. The first volley screamed across the sky. It missed everything that mattered. Explosions tore through empty ground where no soldiers stood. Dust and fire filled the air, but the human lines, unexpectedly untouched, held firm. Human commanders froze, staring at their displays. What just happened? One demanded. Sensors showed chaos. Dominion fire was scattered, unfocused. Precision strikes turned into wide, useless blasts. On the ridge, Salith stared in disbelief. They are failing. Aaron watched quietly. No. They're adapting too slowly. Human units advanced, cautious at first, then bolder as they realized the fire wasn't finding them. Squads moved where death had been seconds before. Salith's hands trembled. We are influencing the battle. Aaron nodded. This is what humans do best. We don't overpower systems. We overwhelm their assumptions. A sharp tone sounded from Salith's wrist device. Her eyes widened. The Dominion has noticed. They are isolating the towers. Time to move, Aaron said. They retreated along the ridge, slipping through paths no map recorded. Behind them, Dominion engineers scrambled, arguing, blaming software, atmosphere, sabotage. No one suspected a wounded human and a Valari healer walking between systems. They reached a high overlook where the battlefield spread wide beneath them. The fight had changed. Human forces were regrouping, pushing back, exploiting the sudden uncertainty. Salith felt something tighten in her chest. This should not be possible. Aaron followed her gaze. That's what they said when humans first left their home world. She turned to him. Your people are not stronger. Not faster. Not more advanced. No, he agreed. We're just very hard to finish. A sudden flash lit the sky. A Dominion command ship staggered, its shields flickering as human fighters swarmed. Salith inhaled sharply. If they discover what we have done. They won't, Aaron said. They'll blame their machines. She studied him, ears twitching slowly. You speak as if you have done this before. Aaron's smile faded. Every war teaches humans the same lesson. Systems fail. People adapt. And when people work together. He let the sentence hang. Salith finished it softly. Even enemies. Silence stretched between them, filled only by distant explosions and wind. Then her device chimed again, different this time. Human frequencies. Aaron stiffened. What is it? Salith hesitated, then handed him the device. A human voice crackled through, tense but controlled. All units, be advised. Enemy targeting disrupted. We have a window. Repeat, we have a window. Aaron closed his eyes briefly. Humanity was pushing forward, unaware of the quiet hands tilting the scales. Salith watched him, something warm and fierce growing behind her ribs. If this continues, she said, the battle may turn. Aaron nodded. And when it does, we disappear. Her ears lifted. Disappear. You're not a soldier, he said. I'm officially dead. That makes us free. Free. The word echoed in her mind like something dangerous and beautiful. But this war will continue elsewhere, she said. Other worlds. Other battles. Aaron looked out at the stars beyond the smoke. Then maybe this doesn't end with one battlefield. Salith followed his gaze. For the first time in her life, she imagined a future not dictated by commands or doctrine. You are proposing something far larger than survival, she said. Aaron met her eyes. I'm proposing cooperation. Below them, human forces surged forward. Above them, Dominion sensors recalibrated, blind to the truth slipping through their fingers. And between two armies, two enemies stood quietly rewriting the shape of the war. By dawn, the battlefield was quiet. Not peaceful. Just stunned. Smoke drifted across scorched land where armies had prepared for endless slaughter. Wreckage lay scattered like the remains of broken ideas. Human medships moved carefully through the ruins, retrieving wounded. Dominion craft hovered at a distance, uncertain, defensive, confused by a battle that had slipped beyond prediction. From a high ridge far from both camps, Aaron Cade and Dr. Salith watched the aftermath in silence. Humanity had not won. The Dominion had not lost. But something far more dangerous had happened. The war had changed. Aaron lowered himself onto a rock, breathing slowly. His body still hurt, but the pain was quieter now, pushed back by adrenaline and something deeper, purpose. Salith stood beside him, her ears flicking as she listened to intercepted transmissions flowing across her wrist device. They are arguing, she said. Dominion Command cannot agree on what went wrong. Some blame sabotage. Others blame atmospheric anomalies. A few are blaming each other. Aaron smiled faintly. That's how you know it worked. Salith looked at him. Your people are advancing, but cautiously. They do not understand why they are not dead. Neither do your commanders, Aaron replied. Fear grows fastest in confusion. She studied the battlefield again. If they trace the interference back here. They won't, Aaron said. We didn't break anything. We just nudged it. Salith turned to him. You nudged an interstellar war. Aaron shrugged carefully. Humans have a talent for that. A long silence followed. Then Salith spoke, her voice quieter. The Dominion will adapt. They always do. They will harden their systems. They will hunt anomalies. Aaron nodded. So will humans. She met his gaze. Then this never truly ends. No, he said. But it can evolve. She looked away, ears lowering slightly. I was trained to heal bodies, not conflicts. Aaron shifted closer. You did both today. Sayletha's throat tightened. By betraying my people. No, Aaron corrected gently. By refusing to become a weapon. She stared at the ground. The Dominion will brand me a traitor. Humans would call you brave, he said. She let out a breath she hadn't realized she was holding. Bravery feels very similar to terror. Aaron chuckled softly. Yeah. We noticed. A sudden transmission cut through the air, Dominion emergency signals layered with human command chatter. Sayletha's device translated rapidly. Her eyes widened. They are pulling back, she said. Both sides. Not retreating, reassessing. Aaron's heart thudded. That means they're scared. Of each other, she asked. Of the unknown, he replied. Of variables they can't control. She looked at him slowly. Of us. The idea settled between them, heavy and unreal. Aaron Cade, officially dead human soldier. Dr. Sayleth, missing Valari healer. Two ghosts standing where certainty used to be. What happens now? Sayleth asked. Aaron looked up at the sky, where stars began to emerge through thinning smoke. Now we move. Quietly. Carefully. And do what? She asked. He met her eyes. Find others like you. Scientists. Engineers. Medics. People tired of being told the only solution is annihilation. Sayletha's ears twitched sharply. You want to build something? Yes, Aaron said. In the cracks between empires. She considered that. A network. A story, he said. One machines can't predict. She let out a small, disbelieving laugh. You humans think in narratives even during war. Especially during war, he replied. The wind carried distant voices, soldiers calling to one another, medics shouting orders. Life continued, stubborn and loud. Sayleth stepped closer. If we do this, she said, we will be hunted by both sides. Aaron nodded. Then we stay invisible. She studied him. You should be resting. Your injuries are severe. I will, he said. Eventually. She reached out, her hand glowing softly as she checked his vitals. You are still alive, she said quietly. He smiled. You sound relieved. Her ears lowered, then lifted again. I am. For a moment, neither spoke. Then Sayleth deactivated her Dominion identifier. The device dissolved into inert crystal dust in her palm. Aaron watched, surprised. That's irreversible. Yes, she said. So is what we started. He reached into his armor and removed his human ID tag, the one that marked him as Lieutenant Aaron Cade. He held it for a second, then dropped it into a crevice in the rock. It vanished into darkness. Well, he said softly. Guess that makes it official. Sayleth looked at him. What does? We're not soldiers anymore, he said. We're a problem. Her lips curved into a small, fierce smile. The most dangerous kind. Above them, Dominion fleets shifted formation. Human command ships reorganized. Both sides prepared for the next phase of war, unaware that its rules had already been rewritten. Because somewhere between the stars and the smoke, humanity had done what it always did best. Not conquered. Not surrendered. Adapted. And for the first time in galactic history, an alien civilization began to understand the truth. Humans were not terrifying because they fought alone. They were terrifying because, when the moment came, they chose to stand together.